All right. Hello. I was having an issue connecting, but I'm here, and I know there's a bunch of you over on the other live that I started, so hopefully we'll get you guys over on this live. So I'm going to wait a few minutes to let everybody jump on. If you're listening to the replay, hey, hi everyone. I had to disconnect and reconnect over here. Make sure I had a good internet connection. Hello. I'm here. Hi, everyone. Anna, Mary, Corey, Miss Melissa, Aaron, Christina, James. Hi, everyone. Settle in. If you're live or on the replay, settle in because there's a lot of beings that are going to come into the portal today or this evening or this morning, wherever you are. They want to connect with you. So if you can just drop everything and sort of surrender into the now moment with this message and with this frequency that's coming through, you'll receive a lot more than just the words that are coming out. One of the visions I was shown prior to jumping onto this live was a large amount of light beings in my room wanting to access the portal that opens when we connect live so they can contact you. I forgot the word they used. It was a funny word. It wasn't family. It wasn't friends. It was, I don't know. I can't remember. Comrades or something like that. Anyway, please know that whether you're listening to this on the replay or on the live, the portal is open, meaning we've opened some sort of space, higher frequency space. And all the beings that are always around me, connecting with me and accessing me to access you are coming in. I encourage you to drop whatever you're doing if you can and move into your body a little bit deeper just by finding the breath, right? That drops us into our bodies. And then really opening up that fourth energy center for a moment, breathing from that space, because that also drops us into our bodies. And again, let whatever comes through with my words, let it also energetically hit you. So that's the first thing. There's a lot of beings that are around you that want to connect. And if you don't have an expectation of what that looks like, you'll just receive the frequencies and the vibrations and whatever happens, right? Okay, so for me, today is December 16th. But it's the now moment on the earth plane. So it doesn't matter the day or the time, it's the now moment that we're experiencing. And I was told yesterday that today, for me, is December 16th, right, Monday. But again, it's just this now moment. So whether you're on the other side of the world, the now moment, we've been receiving a really high frequency dose of light, okay? And of course, we're used to this now, so we can feel it a little bit more, right? It's like, oh, this is one of those days where things just feel a little bit amplified. And my guides told me yesterday that today was going to be a massive portal, a massive shaking around, okay? And these messages are redundant, right? It's like, oh, here we go again. It's the same sort of thing that we're being provided for and shown in terms of the message and what's happening to us. But that is because we need to hear it over and over, because it feels like we're on a record spinning, right? It's like Groundhog Day. And it's like, it's this spinning of the record, and yet we are continuing to move upward in frequency. It's just that there are many times where it can feel like, oh my God, are you kidding, right? This again, right? And oh my God, another portal opened, or oh my God, high frequency light coming in. So it is what it is, and I'm just the messenger and sharing the message of today. So here's what they showed me. When I receive messages, a lot of time it's visual things. They show me like a movie screen or pictures, right? And then I dissect it. So the amount of high frequency light that's coming in, I want you to visualize yourself in a shower. And I want you to visualize, instead of actual water dripping down on you, it's light. And this light is moving into the body. And this light is a very high frequency. So what that means in terms of high frequency, what it means is that it's spinning very fast. And the faster light spins, right, the higher in frequency it is, the higher in dimensional field or density it is. So the slower energy spins, the lower in density, meaning it will have more form. It will be in a lower dimension, a lower density. The faster this energy and the light spins, the lighter it will be, the less dense it will be, the higher in frequency and dimension. Now, when this light enters into your physicality, you don't physically see the light. It's not like sunlight where you see it coming in, you feel it hitting you. It's not like that. It's too high of a frequency. Okay. But when it comes into the body, when it is in the frequency that it's in today, it rumbles around the densities that we thought we had miraculously, courageously, triumphantly moved through. And for whatever reason, with no judgment, things may be once again coming up onto this screen for you to see. And it doesn't mean that it could be anything, by the way, they were saying. This could be feelings of frustration and anger just about the whole human journey. It could be wanting to be in a higher frequency and not, right? Those thoughts that keep coming up. Why am I not in a higher frequency? It could be as complicated as healing an addiction that you've been trying to heal, right? Or getting out of or into a relationship or trying to work through relationships. It can be anything, right? It could be anything. So it can be a very simple thing that's playing out and that's coming up, or it could be a very massive thing. It really depends on where you are in your journey and what you experienced in your human journey. But what it looks like is they want you to imagine a movie screen. And there is a movie reel, like back in the day when the old school movies, they maybe even now, actually, no, they're all digital, but there's that reel that plays the movie, right? And that reel, the movie reel, is your human life. It's your human journey. Okay. And that reel holds certain old patterns, old beliefs, old programs. And when I say old, it means that it is in a lower frequency. It's holding consciousness that is denser. And these reels have been playing and they've been building up over many, many years as we continued to live the life that we've lived. And because a lot of us were in an unconscious state, so we weren't aware and awake the way we are now, we just let those movie reels play out. We believed them, right? And we followed these certain patterns. And it was like, oh, well, this is just my life. Well, let me try to fix something. Let me try to go to classes, or let me try to, we tried to get out of that movie reel, but somehow we just like, oh, back in that movie reel, right? So today they were showing that whatever that movie reel is for you, okay, it's coming up loud for a lot of us. And it's visual, like you can see it, you can hear it. It's like, holy cow, where did this come from? And again, you guys, it can be something as simple and little as my heart's closed, right? I don't want to open my heart center. And why is my heart center not open today, right? Or it could be something as complex and dense as an addiction, or trying to get out of an abusive relationship, or anything like that. It runs the gamut. There's no such thing as being too evolved to not have a movie reel, okay? Because we all have density in the physicality. And if you didn't, you'd be an enlightened being that would be just floating through this experience, right? In this really high, heightened, enlightened state. Sure, there's people out there like that. But the majority of us are consciously watching ourselves clear the dense over and over and over again. So there's no such thing as, oh, I'm already in a 5D consciousness. I'm already in this state and I don't have density to clear out. There's always more because you're always shifting higher. And when you shift higher, there's lower densities clearing out, always. That's how consciousness and energy moves. That's the spectrum. It's just a matter of what is that spectrum for you? What frequency are you at, and what frequency is falling off of you? What does that movie screen look like? That movie reel look like, right? And so here's the thing they want us to understand. There is an aspect of you that's standing directly in front of you, or you can look at it however it is, wherever it is. It's in the quantum. I've talked about this in other videos, and I'm talking about it again today because it's very, very important to remember this. You are quantum. You are understanding that more and more. You are living that more and more. You are in it and being it more and more, which means that there is an aspect of you. There's an aspect of you that's in the now, that's holding a higher version, higher frequency of you right now. And the reason that everything is, and this is an aspect of you that you've either consciously intended or unconsciously intended, meaning the higher self intended it for you. Okay, but it's a higher version of you here. There's other versions of you down here from the egoic structure that creates, right? In the same frequency. I'm not talking about the same frequency of intention setting. I'm talking about in setting an intention and a knowingness of an aspect of you that is not in this frequency and that does not have that movie reel that's going. You know, the movie reel can be thoughts that don't serve you any longer, that you've had for a very long time, beliefs that don't serve you any longer, that you've had for a very long time, behaviors that you've had, programs that you've had, traumas that you've had, right? It can be a gamut of things. That's the movie reel. And it's very unconscious for a lot of us. And as we become more conscious of it, we are learning how to not connect to it, meaning we don't attach to it, right? Oh, there's the movie reel. Oh, that's my life human journey that I've been going on. Yep. I'm not it. It's not me. It's an experience. It's consciousness. It's showing me where I've been, and it's showing me what I am releasing. That's it. So here's this aspect of you in the quantum and in the now, vibrating in a higher frequency. How high? I don't know. It's unique for you. But it's alive, it's present, it's now. And you, as the conscious ascending human, knows this. You know this. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you don't believe it. Sometimes you don't trust it. Sometimes it seems like it's impossible. But this is where you're going. Where you already are. What is coming up today and what is going to continue to come up for the next 4 or 5 days is a movie reel that is showing you what needs to be loved entirely so that you can dissolve that movie reel so that you can be in this frequency, this aspect of you. If you look at the movie reel as shit, this is happening. I don't like this. I don't want this. Why is this coming up again? God dang it. Like all these, if you have a harsh sort of tone or response to the movie reel, you're staying with them, you're hanging out with the movie reel. You believe it, you are it, you're playing in it, right? It's like you're in a playground and there's this kid that's always wanting to start fights, right? And you know the kid's there to start fights, right? But you're not going to engage. You're not engaging. You're going to love the kid because that kid's just doing what the kid's going to do. If you start to engage, then all of a sudden you're fighting, right? And then you're playing in that energy. The movie reel's the same thing, okay? You can play in the movie reel. You can watch the movie, which is you watching you in this lower frequency that you're moving out of. Oh my God, this is how I live. This is what I do. This is the programs and the beliefs and the paradigms. This is how I've been doing it for so long. And this movie reel is coming up right now in the palpability that it is, the palpableness that it is for your highest good, because it is showing you, hey, look where look what you are dissolving. Look what you're leaving, basically. Look what you are dissolving into light, dissolving into complete wholeness, so you can step into this. When you look at it with the eyes of, oh my God, that's right. This is still with me. Oh my God, okay. I am going to courageously honor and love it. I'm just going to honor it. I'm just going to love it. I'm going to accept it. See, it's very challenging for the human to look at something they don't like and they don't want to be in and they don't want to do and accept it. Acceptance allows it to dissolve 20,000 times faster. If you accept that which you can't stand, and then you drop into deep, deep, deep surrender and love for it, honoring it, like, wow, look at how I lived for so long, or look at my reactions, my responses, my ways of being. It can be as simple as, I didn't want to get out of bed today, and I didn't want to do the things that I needed to do, but I beat myself up over it, right? So there's this aspect, there's movie reel that you play where it doesn't allow you to just be in whatever vibration and resonance you feel like being in that now. So you always are beating yourself up, right? That's a movie reel. And so when you're laying in bed and you're watching that movie reel happen, it's like, oh my God, how many times in my life have I allowed that movie reel to play out? You know what I mean? Hold on a second. Okay. So that's what you want to watch, because what it's showing you is what is still in your field, meaning in your physicality, and that is asking to be loved, accepted. Just accept it. And then hold this knowingness, this aspect, this higher version of you, this aspect that's in the right now. It's in the now, it's in front of you, or by this, or beside you. It's right here. And so what happens a lot of times is that we want to be in these higher states of consciousness, and we want to be really like in the 5D. And if you're trying to get out of what's in your now that you don't like, you're going to miss the movie reels. You want to see the movie reels. You want to see them. You want to acknowledge them. You want to honor them. You want to feel them here. You want the movie reels to pop up, because the movie reels are showing you what you need to love so that you can jump on over. Bring it on. Bring the movie reels on. What is it? Let's keep going with these movie reels. There's no such thing as, oh, if I have more movie reels happening, there's something wrong with me. I'm not ascending fast enough. I'm not an enlightened being. I'm not in a higher state of consciousness. You're always holding higher states of consciousness within you. And you're also holding density. You're holding both right now. So there's no such thing as, it's not black and white, you guys. It's not like, oh, I'm holding higher states of consciousness, so therefore I shouldn't have movie reels anymore. I'm always in an ascended state, so I shouldn't have movie reels anymore. If you're thinking that way, then you're going to be unconscious and ignoring the movie reels that are still trying to pop up, designed by your higher self and I am presence, to show you, hey, guess what? This is still inside of you, because we can't see what's inside density-wise, consciousness-wise. If you tapped into the energy of it, you would be able to feel what's inside still. But you got to be so honest and courageous with yourself, right? You got to be honest and courageous with what's coming up and not judge it. That's how you ascend into higher states, is you allow the denser states to come up as often as they need to. And you learn, because we've been doing this for so darn long, and we've been watching these things come up for so long, that now a lot of us are like, oh, here it comes again, right? And we're learning how to not attach. We're learning how to not grab on and become it. We're observing it. And if you've been doing that, you'll notice that it moves a lot faster, right? It shifts out of you so much faster when you don't attach to it. You just love the heck out of it. You love that human journey. You love it. So you're doing multiple things in the quantum space. Okay, the quantum is like juggling, and yet it's very simple and easy. In the quantum, you are recognizing where you are in the current now. So you're feeling the vibration of where you are in the current now, and you're accepting it. In the current now, this is what's happening. And you don't deny it. You don't try to move out of it. When you're in a quantum space, quantum field, and a multidimensional human, you are not trying to move out of anything. Okay? You are holding the quantum, which means everything's happening in the now. Whatever my reality is in this now is based on the vibration and frequency that I'm holding in this now. My vibration and frequency is always shifting. Your vibration and your frequency, the frequency is how fast your energy is spinning. The vibration is the tone in which it resonates out, right? Your vibration and your frequency are always moving. They're always moving around. It does not go in a static space, like flatline thing. So for any human to have this idea that it's always like this is just what happens, then you probably have been very disappointed with this journey, right? Most of us at this point understand that the frequency and vibration goes like this. There's days where it's like, oh yeah, I can feel this higher frequency, maybe days. And then there's days where it's like, oh, I'm in a little bit of a denser state, right? That's how it works. That's how we anchor the higher frequencies. And so you want to be conscious, always conscious in the quantum of your now without trying to escape out of it. Oh, look at the movie reel that's coming up. I'm not going to try to escape out of it and try to ascend into some other higher state, because that would be a disservice to my now. My now is showing me that there is a movie reel of consciousness that I need to love, because it's obviously inside my physicality. That's why it's coming up, because there's a huge amount of light coming in today that is so intense in terms of spinning that it's rattling more density out of me. Thank you. Yes, I will acknowledge that, and I will not try to shift, ascend, or move into any higher state that I already am in the quantum. We like to get really like hooty-tooty with these spiritual words and say, well, you already are a whole complete, being. You already are that light being. You already are ascended. Yes, in the quantum, you absolutely are. And at the exact same time, you are in a now moment. You can't deny your now. Denying your now is denying the quantum. Okay, so that's first. Second, in this quantum and in the now, you are also holding many different aspects of you in many different frequencies. But for the sake of keeping it simple, vibrationally, resonance-wise, we're going to tap into the closest aspect of us right now to our own vibration, which is what you're merging into. And there may be an aspect, you may know what that aspect is. You may have been intending it, creating it, manifesting it, right? Being pulled to it. I know this is coming. I know this is coming. I can feel this, right? Now, you're not trying to tap into in the quantum space something that's in a super high frequency, because it's really far away from you energetically. And the farther your aspect of you that you're trying to tap into in the quantum, the farther it's away, the farther it is from you, meaning the higher it's spinning in frequency to where your current now is, the more challenging it's going to be to merge with it. So you want to start with the aspect of you that's right next to you in the quantum. It's a close vibration, right? So whatever that intention is, whatever that aspect is, a more open heart, a different job, a healthier relationship. I don't know what it is, right? No more not having these behaviors anymore, even not having these thought patterns, holding firmer boundary. I mean, who knows, right? Whatever it is. It's an aspect of you that's vibrating at a higher frequency than where you are right now. And it is close enough in vibrational tone that you can merge with it very easily. And then you're continuing to tap into the next and the next and the next in the quantum, right? And then you can do massive quantum jumps if you want, right? As long as you can hold the knowingness of that aspect of you, what frequency it's at, what it feels like, what it looks like, what it's holding, then you can jump into it. You can absolutely jump and shapeshift into a much higher version of you quite easily if you understand that frequency, that vibration, where you are now, what needs to clear out of you now, and love that aspect that needs to clear out so that you can get here, right? You just have to know this. You have to know this frequency. You have to understand this frequency, which is you in the quantum. You have to know it, not believe it. You have to know it. Belief is one thing. Knowingness is deeper, right? Do you believe what your name is? Yeah, I believe my name. Do you know your name? Yeah, I know my name. I know it. I know it with 100% certainty. I know this aspect of me is alive and breathing and standing. I know it. So there's all these aspects of you and all these other frequencies. In fact, the aspect of you that you're experiencing right now used to be a higher version of you in another previous now. So there was another previous now where you were holding a lower vibration than you are now. And you merged into this now version of you, which is a higher frequency. Consciously or unconsciously, that's what happened. And that's what's continuing to happen. But as we increase our own frequency and our consciousness evolves, we are opening up and stepping into the quantum more. So we're starting to understand how this works. And it's actually making sense, right? And when you start to really live in this field, you understand there's no such thing as stepping out of a now. You're either merging into a higher frequency of you, merging, which means you're taking your now and taking the now and taking the now and taking the now, right? So you're not experiencing a now and saying, I don't want this now, I want this, and I'm going to force myself into this space. You're taking the vibration, you're taking the frequency, you're taking where you are, and you're basically, what's it called, where you turn like where you take a solid and you turn it into a liquid, or like you take metal and you turn it into gold, or I forgot what those people are called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyways, you're melding into this next version. You're merging. Alchemy, yeah, it's alchemy. So you're not trying to not be that which you are. You're turning into the next aspect. You're turning into the next piece, right? And all humans are doing this, whether they're conscious of it or not. However, the more conscious you can be of the movie reel, the more conscious you can be of whatever thoughts are coming up, whatever beliefs are coming up, whatever programs, whatever, like the movie reel can either be super loud and palpable, or it can be very quiet, right? But you want to listen. You want to watch. You want to be like, what is coming up today? What is this? It can be very tiny things. If you've done a huge amount of work, right, and you're in a really good frequency and state already, then this movie reel is going to be pretty, not too dramatic, right? It might have like some old sort of beliefs that you can't have certain things, or you have to work really hard for things, or I don't know, right? There may be these like really old belief systems that are there. And then for many of us, it could be massive patterns and behaviors that we're trying to love and dissolve out. All right, this takes so much practice. It takes so much practice. I mean, and it takes a reminder over and over and over. How quickly do we just fall right back into what's wrong with me? Why am I still feeling this way? Why am I still in this vibration, right? Did I just lose my vibration? What's going on, right? How often do we do that? Even though we hear the message over and over that we're okay, that everything's fine, that this is perfect, right? Think about your now through the quantum lens. Remember that every single thing, do not associate with you being anything that's coming up. You are not that which is coming up to be seen, coming up to be felt, coming up to be heard. You are not it, no matter what it is. It's an older consciousness. That's it. And the more conscious you are and aware you are of it, without trying to fix it or flee it, get the hell out of there, but instead be in awe of it. Wow, holy cow. Here it is again. I've lived so much of my life in that movie reel. So much of my life in that movie reel. And I know that movie reel is coming up, not because I'm still playing in it, but because my higher self and I am presence and guides and beings around me want to show me what density is still inside the physicality of my form so that I can love it through. I love that consciousness, beam that frequency to it. And by becoming aware of it, by becoming conscious of it without attachment or judgment, the consciousness naturally will flow, will dissolve through. So that these higher frequencies that are coming in will be able to settle deeper into the body, and the physicality of you will anchor deeper and deeper. That's what's happening. And what the human does is they see these things coming up and then they say, oh shit, there's something wrong with me. What did I do? Why is this happening? Why is this coming up? How do I fix this? How do I get rid of it? How do I stop it? Right? Oh shoot, here comes the bully. I better get my gloves up and better get ready to fight. I got to get ready to like push against it, resist it, which takes a lot of energy and only creates more of a beingness with it, as opposed to, look at that. What a gift that it's coming up one more freaking time. I'm not attached to how many more times it comes up. I'm not attached to how many more times it comes up. If there's patterns that you're watching in relationships that you're having, right? And it's like, oh my freaking God, here it is again. Here I am again. I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. How many times do you say that? I'm doing this again. Or you hear those words that you've been telling yourself since you were 5 years old. I'm saying it again to myself. Okay, great. So this is what you're going to do, right? You're watching and observing. Oh my God, I'm in it again. Great. Observe the you that has been being and playing in that movie reel. Observe it like a movie. Literally, act as if you're watching a movie. And then remember the quantum, which is that, oh, even though I just did that behavior, even though I just responded in that way, even though I just had those thoughts or beliefs about myself or somebody else, it's coming up, not because I am it. It's coming up to show me how I've been, what I've played in, and what is being asked to be loved and not judged, to be loved and not kicked out, to be loved and not suffocated and squeezed back down, to be accepted. There can be a lot of fear around accepting it. What do you mean accept it? Just accept the fact that my relationship with this person is volatile and all these things happen, right? What's underneath the volatility? What's coming up on that movie reel? What are the patterns that you've been doing for so many years that's creating that volatility? That is what is being asked to be loved, not the actual experience of the volatility between the two of you. It's what's underneath that's creating that explosion, that's creating those arguments, that's creating that. That's the movie reel. And the more conscious you can get of what's occurring in your now that no longer works, that no longer serves you, that hasn't been around for a while, and all of a sudden, boom, the movie screen is up again. It's much easier. It takes a lot of courage, you guys, to really look the movie reel in the face. It takes a lot of courage to accept it. It takes a lot of courage to love it. It takes so much courage. But you cannot escape what is in the now. And you also can't escape what's inside of you. The density that's inside of you won't go anywhere It can't dissolve basically out until there's a conscious awareness of it. And then an acceptance and a love. It's how energy moves. It's how it flows. That's why for so many years, we have built these consciousnesses up because we haven't even been aware of them. And now we're unpiling it all. We're unpiling it all and it's like, oh my God, there's a lot. I got to look at all of it, right? It's like somebody just handed you 200 books and it's like, you now have to read all these books. And then when you're done, it's complete. So it's like you have to be able to honor, love, and accept all of the density, all the shitty things that you've gone through, all the crappy behaviors you've done. And I say these in a very non-judgmental way, in a very neutral way. It's your human journey. It deserves to be honored. But again, authentically accepting and loving that which we have not been able to in most of our life takes courage. Takes courage. And if you continue to try to pretend or shift out of or do these sort of like spiritual bypasses, oh, I'm just going to move into 5D consciousness. Oh, I'm just going to meditate into these fields and just be there. It's only going to work for so long because that density doesn't go anywhere. It's a gift. It's a gift when we see the movie reels, as palpable as we're feeling them today. That's what's so great about days like today where the light is so intense. Because we get to really see like what other stuff is in there. What other density is in there? Oh my God. Okay, I thought I was done with that behavior. I'm not. Okay, so what am I going to do? I am going to accept it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to honor it. You know, I woke up this morning exhausted and the last couple of days there's been, I've been working on, a lot of you guys know if you follow me, I've been working on my body image, right? And just really loving my body. And how deeply can I love my body? And just moving through that dense consciousness that built up from the moment I was 6 years old and I had trauma, right? I had a trauma that occurred when I was 6. And because of that trauma, it disassociated me from my body and it allowed me to see that my body was this like thing that was going to create the happiness that I deserved. And it was going to bring the love to me that I needed. And the body was the way that I would receive everything that I needed. And yet I was completely disassociated from it, right? So during these last couple of years, that is the core kind of akashic density and consciousness that I have been clearing. And it doesn't clear overnight, right? And so I've been doing so much courageous work, loving it. The behaviors, the thoughts, the beliefs, the patterns, all of it, right? And this morning, I've been noticing that the thoughts were getting louder the last couple of days. And I was like, wow, this is really strange because I have been in a really good state with my body and loving it and like nestling with it and whatever, right? And I'm watching because I'm conscious, super conscious. Oh my God, I am starting to feel like I did 3 years ago towards my body, right? What the heck? And I woke up this morning and it was like, it couldn't get any more intense. This consciousness that I felt on a regular 2 years ago was just like pulsating in me. And because I'm extremely conscious of everything, I was like, what the freak is this? And I was exhausted. And I was told, you aren't doing anything today. You are going to be laying. You are going to be working with the blue avions. You are going to be looking at this. You are going to be noticing it as the movie reel that you've been playing out since you were 6 years old. And what could I have done? I could have said, I don't want to feel this. There's something wrong with me. How could I possibly be feeling this again? Let me distract myself from it. There's so many things that I could have done. But what did I do? I devoured it. I said, oh my God, okay. Wow, I know this isn't me. And I know the intensity of it isn't me right now. But it's coming up because there must still be aspects of that consciousness still in me. Great. What do I need to do? Lay down. Great. What else do I need to do? Feel it. Great. What else do I need to do? Love the hell out of yourself and out of it and out of the entire lifetime that you played in it. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. And I didn't attach. I didn't say, oh shit, I hope this doesn't come back. I didn't say, well, how long is this going to be here? I didn't say any of that. I didn't say there must be something wrong with me. I can't possibly teach all the things that come through because I'm still dealing with this. We're all human. Everyone is going through something or other in terms of density. I don't care who you are or what you teach about or what you channel or any of that. We all are. And we need to have compassion for ourselves and for the other humans because we're all courageously doing this in our own unique way. And we have to start to remember it's not black and white and there's nothing wrong with us. We're in a quantum space and there's a beauty in that. So I laid on the floor and I saw the aspect of me that was completely clear of that movie reel of your body is everything. Your body has to be a certain way. You know, the way you experience your life is through the physicality of your body, all these things, right? This aspect of me that I'm merging into right now didn't have that movie reel. It wasn't there. She was free of that movie reel. She was free of that consciousness. She was holding a frequency in her body that didn't hold that consciousness. And so I visualized and knew that frequency, that aspect of me. I knew it. It was there. It's true. It's real. It's right there. And then I visualized me that I am right now in the now moment that I'm having, merging with that aspect of me. Merging. So this can be anything as like intense as what I just explained, or it could be just the desire to want to have healthier relationships, right? Or the desire to want to hold firmer boundaries, right? The desire to want to say no more, the desire to want to speak your truth, you know, the desire to live a life where you are standing in your sovereignty and in your expanded state more and more. Feeling more, you know, love for yourself and humanity. It can be as simple as that, even though it's not simple. Or it can be as complex as, like I was saying, something that I'm working through right now, right? And to be able to hold the lens of non-judgment, of non-duality, that it doesn't matter what that movie reel is. Your movie reel is different than my movie reel, and it doesn't mean that I'm in any higher of an ascended state than you are, right? So the more honest, the more real, the more raw we can get with this journey, the quicker we're going to shift. It's like take off the gloves and get dirty with this stuff. Get real, get honest. Don't pretend, don't fake it. Right? And the more we can all do that, the easier it will be. There's nothing to be ashamed about in terms of anything that's happening on your movie reel. A lot of times in the spiritual community, it's like, oh my God, God forbid, you know, I should be feeling these things. God forbid, I should be talking about these things. God forbid, blah, whatever. Because it's always about the ascended states, the higher states, the new earth and all of this stuff. But where are we in the now? Where are we in the now? It's the now that's most important. And then the next now. And then the next now. That's what's important. That new earth, that 5D consciousness, all of that, that already is. You already are that. And you're shifting through it. You're shifting no matter what, you're moving into that spectrum. You're on the conveyor belt. You're going. Sometimes you tap into it because you're in the quantum, and sometimes you don't. But the more you stay in the present now of everything that's coming through without judgment, right or wrong, good or bad, the faster you'll move through that conveyor belt and that consciousness. But if you try to move through the conveyor belt of consciousness and in your now you're experiencing something and you've labeled that as not high, as not ascended, as not good, as not right, and you try to move into some other part of the conveyor belt that you're not at yet, it's not going to happen. You're going to find yourself right back in the conveyor belt that you tried to jump out of, the part of the conveyor belt that you didn't want to be in. We're trying to rush this whole thing because we don't like how Ascension works. We don't like the clearing. We don't like the aspects of moving through 3D consciousness and aspects of 4D consciousness. So we try to move faster or move out of, right? But the now moment is the most important. It's the only moment that counts. If we honored the now the way we honored other states of consciousness, we would be shifting a lot quicker. And when I say quicker, it's not good or bad. It's just that we would be flowing in a more, in a state where there's no resistance. When you're not in resistance and you're in complete surrender to all that's coming up, you just move, right? Like what came up for me today, that could have lasted days. It's already out, meaning it's already been filtered, right? Without attachment to whether it comes up again. Within hours. And when you guys find yourself in like jobs that you don't like, relationships that you don't like, right? And for whatever reason, you're still in it. I'm getting darker in my screen. You're in it in your now. The now is this relationship that isn't healthy for you. You're maybe in an abusive relationship, or maybe you're in a relationship where there's no love anymore, right? Where there's just the resonance isn't there anymore. You're in a job that just is like horrific, right? That's your now. That is the now. And it's not necessarily a movie reel. It's just the now moment you're experiencing. Here's what you want to do, okay? You want to remember that you're quantum. You want to honor the now. So let's first begin by getting real clear on the labeling, judgment, and attachments you're having to the now. I don't want to be in this. I don't like this. This is doing this to me. This is making this happen. This is making this happen. This is, we can start to fall into a little bit of a victim mode when we find ourselves in a now moment that we don't want to be in, that we're stuck in. So you want to begin to step into the quantum space while you're in a now moment in the very human way, which means that everything was designed by you. That's first and foremost, right? And that in and of itself can be very challenging. Everything was designed by you. You're not in a space or any experience where it was a coincidence. How did I get here, right? Then you want to remember that there is another aspect of you standing right next to you, quantumly, in a little bit higher frequency, in the now, but in this now. Then you want to start to get real, palpably clear on the thoughts that are coming through about where you are, the beliefs that are coming through about where you are, the patterns that you've been doing for God knows how long. that you may be doing in the now. You've got to get out of victim mentality. If you're in a victim mentality, like someone's doing something to me, you'll never be able to see the real through the eyes of the quantum space. When you're in a quantum space, nobody's doing anything to you. When you start stepping into that space, you start to surrender. Sometimes finding gratitude, as challenging as that, can move you into a surrendered state when you find gratitude, because it separates you, or it stops the obsessive OCD thoughts of what is so horrific about the now, what you don't like about the now. But whatever is in the now is coming up in the now so that it can clear and dissolve out of you. So you got to get clear on what those things are. What is the consciousnesses? What are the beliefs? I can't get out of this job because I won't be able to make enough money. I don't know what I want to do. Just whatever it is. You know, nobody's going to hire me, or whatever the thoughts are. I can't get out of this relationship because I'll be all alone. Okay, well, that's an interesting one, right? I can't get out of this relationship because I'm afraid. I can't get out of this relationship because blah, blah, blah. Whatever, right? Get clear on those thoughts. Get clear on those beliefs. Get clear on those programs, because they've been with you for a very long time and they're part of the movie reel. And then start to step into the quantum space and look at it like a movie. Look at yourself in that job like a movie. What is that part of me saying when she's sitting there in that desk? What is he saying to himself when he's going to work in the morning? Watch and observe yourself from the perspective of your higher self, and you'll get real clear on what needs to be loved. Because then you have to move into loving it. It's very challenging to shift when you're fighting it, right? Like the little kid. I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job. I hate my relationship, I hate this relationship, I don't want to be in this relationship, I don't want to be in this relationship. You've got to honor the journey. You got to honor what came up. You got to honor what you've been going through. You got to honor where you are in the now. You have to start to see it from the bigger perspective. Then you start to acknowledge what it actually is. You're not in it anymore. You're observing it. Then you've got a much better perspective, and you can say, oh, this is what I've been experiencing. This is why I've been experiencing it. There's the movie reel, the thoughts, beliefs, programs, paradigms, blah, 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 that brought me to that now. And there's a version of me right here. There's a version of me right here, no matter what, that's already in a different vibration, a little bit higher vibration. And then here, and then here. If you don't know that, then you're going to play in victimhood for a very long time. You've got to know this. You got to know it. It's truth. It's how this whole experience works. And so here you are in this job or this relationship or this place, whatever it is in the now that you don't like and you don't want to be in, and you're tired of it, and all these things are happening to you without your control, and blah, 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 right? What's this version of you doing? What's this version? And this can be a version of you. By the way, remember, if you try to pick a version of you that is in a much higher frequency that you're not going to be able to tap into, for instance, you're in a job you don't like, and you want to be doing your purpose work. Okay. But you don't know what your purpose work is, and you don't know how you're going to get there. Right. So here you are doing your purpose work. For you to be able to go from this job you hate to jumping right into the aspect of you doing your purpose work is going to take a huge amount of quantum jumping, which means that you're going to have to increase your frequency so high in the body that you can tap into that version of you. Which means if you do that, all the other shit's going to come up. So you better be aware and okay with feeling all the shit coming up that is creating your now. If you can't be aware and love the crap that's going to come up in order to bring you into that vibration, then I would start somewhere a little bit closer, which is, okay, I know I'm here to do this work and that I'll be doing this work. Not quite sure I can jump into that frequency yet. That's okay. I can jump into the frequency of a job where I'm making money, but I'm not in this environment anymore. Can I vibrate there? And where I'm starting to do the work that I came here to do. How about that? Why do we have to jump into such a high frequency state that we might not be able to tap into? That's torture. Good luck. I know I'm there. I can feel it. I can see it. Yeah, you can, because it's an aspect of you in the quantum. And you're quantum. So of course you know that you're doing your work. And how frustrating is it to be in a job you don't like, knowing that you are already in a now moment doing the work you came here to do? That's really hard. But you can't get there yet because your frequency isn't there. Your frequency is not aligned with it, and it's in a much higher frequency. And again, if you want to try to shapeshift into that, then you've got to raise your vibration so high. For instance, today, get so conscious of the crap coming up that you love the hell out of it. You love it, you love it, you love it, you devour it, you're not it. You surrender to it, you honor it, right? All of that. But that can be challenging. So let's move a little bit closer. Okay, what can I feel? What can I believe? What can I trust? What can I merge into right now? Without judging it, right? Because here's what the human's going to do. Well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well just jump right here. I don't want another job. I don't want just another mundane job. I should be doing my purpose work, right? We've got all these judgments and all of these requirements and all these attachments. If you're unhappy with where you are and you really are feeling the urge to shift, then who is this aspect of you right here that's not here anymore? Can you tap into this version of you? What does he or she look like, feel like? What are they doing? As you're starting to tap into that version of you, this could be a relationship, a different relationship. This could be you out of this relationship and completely by yourself. What is this aspect of you telling yourself when you're tapping into this version of you that's in a higher frequency? I can't have a job that's free of stress. That won't happen. I can't make money if I'm not working so many hours a week. I can't I won't be able to take care of myself if I'm not in a relationship. I'm going to feel all alone if I'm not in a relationship. I don't know what it is. What is it though? When you're trying to merge with the next highest version of you that you've designed, that's in the quantum, you've got to get real clear on the movie reels that may be playing that need to clear out in order for you to vibrate in this frequency. And those movie reels can sound like you're not going to be able to do it. You don't deserve it. It has to be this way. It has to be that way. Massive programs, right? What are the paradigms and programs that are telling you? Get clear on them. Get clear. Observe it. Watch it. See it. Become the observer in every now, and you will no longer be attached to your now. Which means you'll be flowing easier. You'll be flowing. And when you flow, you're like, oh, this sucks right now in terms of like how I'm experiencing the now. But I know that if I just stay present and I just observe what's coming up and I know and love and see it just as the experience that I'm having, knowing that I'm moving into this next version and holding this next version, I mean, I know it, I hold it, I feel it. Spectrum of consciousness moves like this. I'll be there. I'll be there. Does this make sense? This is how we play in the quantum. This is how we jump and shapeshift and merge timelines. And it's all about frequency. And, you know, a lot of times we want to be somewhere that we're not yet, right? Frequency rise, because we're not ready. We can barely love the movie reel that's in our now that's coming up, much less whatever else is going to be coming up in order for us to move or shift, I should say. Does that make sense, you guys? So Yeah, in the morning time, James, I feel that there's a lot in the morning when you wake up. Get conscious of what's coming through in the morning. And then instead of attaching to it, right, as meaning you are it, you want to observe yourself experiencing it and feeling it. And you want to observe and watch yourself feeling it and experiencing it, knowing that it's a denser consciousness that you're shifting out of. So, James, you were just saying that I forgot what it was you said you're feeling in the morning. The self-talk, right? The whatever it is that you're telling yourself as soon as you wake up in the morning. It's beautiful that it's coming up in the morning because it was being worked on. That consciousness was being worked on in your dream state, which is just another state. Just the ego and personality are quiet. So when you wake up, it's the first thing that's starting to be experienced because it needs to be loved. It needs to be observed as consciousness. That's it. Can you start observing it just as consciousness and not you? It's just consciousness. You feel it. So when you feel it, it feels like you. But it's just consciousness that's saying, hey, guess what, James? Look at this that's bubbling up. Look at all this that's been bubbling up that you've been playing in and living in and directing your life with in so many ways, consciously or unconsciously. And can you now just observe it and recognize it as consciousness clearing, that it's an aspect of your human experience that isn't coming with you? And can you love the part of you that has believed it for so long? Can you love the part of you that has bought into it and believed it? Yes, from the outside. So basically you're laying in bed, okay? And you wake up and it's like these self-loathing thoughts. And what typically happens because we are so unconscious is that we are the thoughts. So meaning that we are being the thoughts. I'm not good enough. My life sucks. I have nobody in my life. I'm completely alone. I don't want to get out of bed. What am I going to do? It's going to be the same old, same old. I'm tired of my life. Everybody else has a great life but me. Those are the thoughts, self-deprecating thoughts, right? And we are the thoughts unconsciously. We just are these things, right? Because we're unconscious. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to see those thoughts almost as if you are detaching from the aspect of James that believes them. And so you're observing these thoughts that you're feeling. You're observing them. And you may even see James believing them. You may see James, his whole life, sort of following those thoughts, following those belief systems and programs. It's consciousness. Can you break it down into the most simplistic thing, which is it's just consciousness coming through that I'm believing to be me? It's not real. It's not truth. It's not me, the bigger James. And it's not the James that you're shifting into, right? So you're really aware of what's coming through. So you're not stopping it. You're not saying, I'm not having these. You're allowing them to come up, and that's where the courage comes from. And then you are recognizing that it is consciousness. Okay, I'm going to step out of myself believing these for a second. I'm just going to look at it as a consciousness, an energy, a consciousness, a breathing thing that's coming up. Can I see it as a movie reel, or can I see it as a screen, a movie screen, and there's James laying in bed believing all of this? Separating from your human experience, separating from the ego, separating from the consciousness, the movie reels that we have played in our whole lives takes so much courage and so much practice. It takes a lot of practice. You have to practice that because we have been unconscious and we have just been numbed out. We just believe the thoughts that come in. Very naturally, it's like, oh, look, here's what I'm thinking again about myself. Here's what I'm believing about myself. And you are them, right? No, we're not. Let's stop that. Let's step into the quantum. Let's remember that we are in this quantum space. And there's an aspect of you that knows exactly what's going on and that has been watching your human journey and is cheering you on to be able to recognize this density that's been coming up really strong in the morning is coming up because they need you. These other aspects of you, the higher self, the I am presence, all your guides, they need you to acknowledge it and see it as outside of you, not your beingness. And it's not coming with you as you are shifting. It's not coming with you. It's not you. All this is, James and everyone else, all this is consciousness that you've played in for so long, believed to be your truth, coming up once again to be viewed and observed as not you. Freedom, surrender, acceptance, love. It's not me. That's just my self-deprecating thoughts that I've had in this amazing human journey, and there is nothing wrong with those thoughts you're having. Nothing. Can you love James for having those thoughts? Can you love James for not knowing any better? Can you love James for having all of his human experiences that brought him to the morning that he wakes up with all of those self-deprecating thoughts? You've done a good job, James. You've done a good job. You have survived your human life. You're continuing to, and you're shifting and remembering why you're in physicality. And part of that is recognizing that the consciousness, like the thoughts, beliefs, programs, and paradigms, they're not you. They're part of this 3D field that you're playing in and that you're standing in. Practice that, James. And this goes for anyone that wakes up or anyone that goes about their day and they have those self-loathing or self-deprecating thoughts. Or anything. You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too ugly, you're too this, you're too that, whatever those may be, right? I don't know. You don't deserve this. You can't have that. And again, we're all on different spectrums of consciousness. So we're all experiencing the now in different ways. Not all of us are having the same experiences, obviously. But there is nothing wrong with the movie reel coming up and whatever that movie reel is. Because there will be another now moment where that movie reel won't be playing anymore. And it'll be gone. It'll be gone. Through the love that you're holding for James or whoever you are experiencing it. There's no shortcuts. You can't pretend to be in a good space. You can't pretend to have a great life. You can't pretend these things. You have to be honest with your now. That's why it takes courage. And judging any now is, it's holding lower frequencies. Judgment is a lower frequency, right? So when you're trying to move through the spectrum of consciousness and shift into a higher version of you, if you're holding judgments around any of it, it's going to keep you in that now. And a judgment can be as simple as this is good, this is bad, this is better, this is worse. I should be feeling this, I should be feeling that. I should be in an ascended state. I should push myself into an ascended state. I should believe I'm in an ascended state. Listen, you are in an ascended state in the quantum, but you're also in the now moment that you're experiencing. And whatever density is coming up, honor that just as much as you're honoring the ascended state of a higher frequency. Why should either of those be looked at or seen as any different? Especially if you understand how consciousness shifts. The way you actually anchor into the next highest frequency or the ascended being that you're becoming, that you already are, is that you allow that which you don't like, that you don't want to experience, to come up like James is doing, and you love the hell out of it. And you acknowledge it and you see it for what it is. True understanding of how Ascension works will bring you straight into the knowingness that everything that comes up needs to be loved, period. That's it. Honored, loved, seen, acknowledged, detached from. You know what I mean? All right. I think I'm done. 111. All right. Any other questions? Does this make sense? Yes. Is feeling it part of the loving you are talking about? Yeah. So like if you wake up in the morning, or if you're driving about in your day, or you're in your job, and you're feeling the feeling of that consciousness, you're feeling that movie reel, right? You're feeling, like, for me, it's like, I was feeling that feeling of like disgust for my body. Like, wow, where'd that come from? That disgust that I haven't felt in a very long time, right? I felt it. I wasn't afraid of it. I knew it wasn't me, and I knew why it was coming up. So a lot of times we don't want to feel things because we think that if we feel it, we are it, right? If I feel this, then that means I am it. No. You're just observing and experiencing it like, oh, wow, look at what this is. Holy cow. Okay, great. Wow. Okay. I know that I am not that which I'm feeling. I'm feeling it so that I can understand what it is, so I can acknowledge it, and then I can love it. So you want to feel, but you want to feel it so you can understand it. Like, what is it? Oh, this is what it is. And then at the exact same time, you become the observer of it. You watch yourself experiencing it. You love yourself experiencing it. You love that which you're experiencing, and you understand it. Oh my God, so much of my life I played in that which I'm feeling right now. I'm not what I'm feeling. I am not what I am feeling. I'm not those self-deprecating thoughts. I'm not the self-hatred for my body or whatever it may be. I'm not it, right? Whatever. But you feel it so that you can have it. So you can say, oh, that's what's in that movie reel. Got it. And then you are detached from it, meaning that you're experiencing it, but you're also observing yourself experiencing it. You're watching yourself experience it as the very beautiful human that you are in physicality, and recognizing as you're experiencing it that it is consciousness. It's a consciousness you're experiencing and feeling that is not you, that is asking to be seen once again and loved and dissolved. So all you have to do is see it, feel it, and love it. If you buy into it, that's where it becomes your reality. Meaning, if you believe it, this is who I am, this is me, this is my life, this is my reality, I am that which I'm experiencing, I am that which I'm feeling, I am that which is coming up for me, well, then you're just going to play in it. It's going to be your reality. It's going to be you. If you see it, feel it, understand it from an observer's perspective as consciousness, and that's it, not you, no problem. Bring it on. Bring it on. You feel it. maybe not be so great, maybe intense, maybe like, wow. But the more you separate from that which you're experiencing, it doesn't become frightening anymore. It's like, oh, look at what I felt today. Oh, okay. Look at what I felt, right now. Look at how I felt after that argument. Look at how I felt during the argument. Look at, you are observing every second of every now. And then you don't attach to any of it. And then it all becomes consciousness. It all becomes an experience. That's it. You are not that which you are experiencing, which you are feeling, which you are hearing. You're not it. This is the greatest gift of awakening, is recognizing that you are not that which you're experiencing. You are just experiencing consciousness in a massively dense field. Right. You look at what happens, you say to yourself, this always happens, right? Okay, now you're conscious of this always happens. Wow, look at that movie reel that I've played over and over. This always happens, this always happens. That's the first step. Becoming the observer of this always happens. Okay, maybe in this now this always happens, but it doesn't always have to this doesn't have to follow me, right? It doesn't always have to happen. I'm watching that, I'm observing that aspect of me that has played in that movie reel for so long. This always happens to me. Wow, look at that thought. It's not true. It's true in the sense that if you look back at all your previous nows, that may have been what occurred. But it is a consciousness and a frequency that doesn't necessarily need to be coming along with you. Right? And it's not a focusing on the negative, because there's nothing negative about it. That's the thing that the human has to understand. There is no such thing as negative and positive. It all just is an experience. So if you recognize that everything just is consciousness, and you stop associating it with positive or negative, you will be able to observe it, accept it, surrender it, and love it much easier. Because I can tell you right now, the way consciousness and energy in the spectrum of ascension works, if you try to ignore a negative thing that you don't like, it's going to still hang in the body. It's going to still be in the body, right? We have to make friends with all of it. We have to walk side by side with all of it. We have to acknowledge and honor, because, by the way, P.S., as a quantum being, you created that negative experience. You created those negative emotions, thoughts, beliefs. You brought it into your now moment unconsciously, because you have been in a 3D field, suffocated in density, unable to remember that you've actually designed this entire experiment. Will January energies be similar to December's? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what January energies are going to be like. But we have been preparing for the last couple of months, this anchoring into this version of us that is more free from the shackles of the denser kind of programs and paradigms that we've been playing in, right? So these movie reels that we're seeing right now that are coming up, we're being asked by these higher aspects of us to let it go, to love it free, to be done with it, so that we can step into these versions of us that are waiting for us, that are already in the now. And for some of us, that's going to happen quickly. For some of us, we're in the process of merging right now. For some of us, it may take some time, right? No judgments around it, but that's what's happening right now. What's happening right now is we are actually merging. We're actually understanding what that means. We're merging timelines. We're collapsing timelines in a very palpable, real way. And we're seeing it in the quantum space. We're watching it in the quantum. Physically. Well, I mean, the more you increase, the more you are increasing the frequency inside of you, the more you're going to physically feel energy, right? So, but because ascension, the journey happens very slowly. I always liken it to, your hair growing. It's like your hair is always growing for most of us, at least. But you don't notice it necessarily growing until a couple months later, right? Then all of a sudden you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, wow, it just grew. It's fast. It's longer. And so energy in the body is the same way. Shifting frequencies the same way. It doesn't happen overnight, and you don't all of a sudden like feel in higher frequencies, right? It's the slow state where it's like 3 months ago you were in a completely different frequency than you are now. But the reason that you can't necessarily tell, it's not like a dramatic difference, is because it was a slow progression of frequency increasing. It's slow. It slowly increases for obvious reasons. The physical form needs to do this slowly. Otherwise, it will have a freak out. There'll be psychosis or sicknesses, and those are already happening to people, right? There's a lot of psychosis that's happening. There's a lot of sicknesses that are occurring because the human is trying to shift faster than what the body wants it to. It's trying to control the ascension process. It's trying to shift itself into higher frequencies before the physical body is ready. So we have to just remember that it's a very gentle process. It's a very slow process. It's designed that way. But the more we increase that frequency inside the form, the more the form anchors the higher frequencies, the more we're going to physically feel of everything. We're expanding, we're opening, we're awakening. All right. I hope this was useful. And if you guys were feeling certain things and are continuing to right now a little bit more intensely, that's just because there's a lot of frequency coming into the physical form. So always be gentle with yourselves and trust what you're feeling, trust what you're hearing, trust what you're experiencing. And start really recognizing that this is all quantum, that this is experience in the now. It's all quantum. How do I see this as quantum? Right? You're doing it. All right. So there we go. Be gentle with yourselves, you guys. I love you so much. Thanks for being here. Mindy, the voice of the ego is, it's going to sound like duality. So the ego is going to hold sort of rules and regulations and right, wrong, good, bad, you should, you shouldn't. It's going to tell you you can do something or you can't do something. It's going to hold the programs and the paradigms that are restrictive, confined. It's very black and white, the ego. Whereas the soul essence of you, or even the higher self essence of you, is from a non-duality perspective. So there's no right or wrong to that voice. The voice is just always guiding you into the next highest version of you. So it's a gentle sort of nudge. It's a gentle voice. It's a loving presence that just says, how about this? What about this? Try this, right? It's a very simple, subtle voice. And it will state itself over and over and over. It's like a record repeating itself until you get it. Whereas the ego is obnoxious and loud and authoritative And by the way, you don't transcend the ego. The ego, you don't get rid of the ego. You learn to balance the ego with it all. You don't want to ever think about trying to dissolve. The ego is a beautiful gift, and the ego comes along with you all the way into the other dimensional fields. It's awesome. The ego plays a role. The ego has a very important role. But you just want to learn how to balance the ego and learn how to let the ego know that it's safe to just chill out while the higher self starts to lead you, right? And you learn how to balance that. Because again, if you try to fight the ego, it's like the bully that comes into the yard, right? The schoolyard. It's just it's useless. It's pointless. Let it just be. Just learn what it is. Learn what it sounds like. Learn how to not listen to it when it's trying to move you into places that no longer serve you. The ego is always just trying to do what it thinks is best for you to keep you safe. And the original reason for an ego structure in the fifth dimensional human form that was designed millions of years ago. So when the human form was designed originally, it was designed in a 5D field, in a 5D earth, in a 5D form. And there was an egoic structure that was designed with it. And that egoic structure was designed to keep the actual physical form safe in the physical structure of the earth plane. That's why there was an egoic structure. It kept the human safe physically. And then, of course, when we shifted down into this very low frequency, the ego was still there, but the ego became much more of an authoritative, holy shit, this density is way too intense. I've got to make sure you're safe in all of this, you know? And so it just created walls and barriers and rules and regulations and restrictions and all these things, right? And it's like, okay, ego, you can chill out, because I'm going to be ascending into these higher states, and the way that you've been controlling and guiding me isn't going to work. So the ego has to learn what its purpose is as well as you shift, right? The ego needs to learn, oh, I can be quiet. How does it learn that? You let it know that it can be quiet. You let it know that it's safe. You let it know that it's okay. Instead of saying, I hate my ego's annoying, my ego is this, I want to quiet my, I want to get rid of my ego, I don't like my ego. You are befriending the ego. You're loving the ego. You're taking the ego by the hand and saying, listen, come with me. I understand this process more than you do right now. I'm going to remind you of why you're here, and you're doing a great job, but we're shifting frequencies, buddy. And as we shift, you're going to remember that the actual job you have is just to keep me physically safe and out of harm's way physically. Right? So you're navigating those two voices, or multiple voices. There's multiple voices. Oh, Blissful Heart Mom, I'm glad you're here. All right, you guys, have a beautiful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is for you, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. I hope you enjoyed it, or maybe you didn't enjoy it, whatever it may have been for you. And off we go. Off we go. We've been continuing to go off. What a journey. What a journey we are on. We are all, every single one of us, shifting frequencies. That's why we're here in the form. So remember to keep that knowingness. Don't get so, try to watch yourself when you get really caught up in the human aspect of it. Like, oh, woe is me, and this is what I'm feeling, and this is what I'm experiencing. And it's like, no. This is all perfect and designed this way. This is beautiful. This is how it's supposed to be. I'm a rock star. I'm shifting through this ascension no matter what's coming up, right? It's a hell of a journey. One day we'll all, well, I don't know when it will be, but there will absolutely come a time where you will be in a state of like, oh my God, do you guys remember when we were moving out of that 3D consciousness. Remember that time when we were moving out of that? Remember that now moment when we were shifting out of physically that really dense 3D field? That was a doozy. There's no escaping it. There's no escaping moving through the density into the higher frequencies. Other than just being present with your now. And loving it, and loving you, and being the observer, surrendering, accepting. Because you can hold all the different states that you're feeling, but why are you only trying to hold the higher states? Why are you not acknowledging the states that are trying to be seen so they can be loved and cleared out of you? Nothing wrong with those. Just love it. Okay. Okay, you guys, I love you. Hi, Becky. Good to see you here. We are doing it. It's a lot of pain that you may be feeling, but it's the choice of no choice. You have to courageously observe yourself move through it. You got to just courageously and understand that it's consciousness. It's not real. The pain is going to feel real, but the pain is just consciousness that you are moving through. It's just consciousness that you're moving through. All right. That is it for now. I will see you next time. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for being on the earth plane. Thank you for coming down into your physical forms. Thank you for courageously accepting, loving, and honoring everything that's coming through for you. And I'll see you in the next live. Lots of love. Bye.